so that we're prepared. I'm just
Yes,
saying.
that's a great idea.
Uh-huh.
But not.
We are live.
Because we are.
Oh,
live.
I was going to say, let us know. Make sure you let us know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I let you know.
That
Well,
way we'll put on our game
orange,
faces.
Little orange thingy up in the corner.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Live. Yeah.
I think we've been live for like 2 minutes.
No. Anyway.
Gerald, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Got to scratch my head. Right, okay, here we go. This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story once a week. I'm Gerald.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Anise.
And this week we've been reading Median by Kelly Robson. Now, you should probably read this story, but if you haven't, pause the podcast, go read it, and then come back because there are spoilers in the summary. Carla, a caregiver, breaks down on her way to work. She manages to coast onto the median before the car dies completely. However, passing vehicles clip the car and eventually wreck it. She tries to call 911, but her old and broken phone won't connect properly. Vehicles on the highway speed past, drivers oblivious to her protestations. On the map on her phone, she can see a casino in the middle distance and begins to walk towards it. She leaves a message on her office phone, probably unattended over the weekend. She feels guilty about leaving the 3 people on her visit list without support. However, as she's making her way towards the casino, she begins to receive calls from other people in trouble, as if she's a 911 call handler. Someone whose mother has fallen and can't get up, a child whose mother is being attacked by his father, an old man who's broken his arm, someone reporting a bank robbery, a disabled man stuck during a fire alarm. Still walking, she comes across a recently wrecked car, wheels still spinning. The 2 adults are dead, but the 2 babies are crawling away and across the lines of traffic to safety on the other side. And still the calls keep coming. A car has crashed into a restaurant. A dead man is waiting to be taken to the beyond. At each call, she tries to give advice to the people in trouble to try to help them. A 3-headed dog appears. Oh, yes, it does. But instead of attacking her, it responds well to some petting. The 2 of them sit in the weeds of the median. Her phone rings and she answers, 911, how can I help you? That's it. That's pretty much the story.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Andy, what did you think of the story overall?
I'm real conflicted because I was really into the story as I was reading it, and then it stopped, and I thought, what?
Stories do that, you know.
Yeah. I was like, what? What? I thought I was going to do something with all of these parts that it assembled. I feel like this is a complaint I've had for a couple stories recently, so maybe it's me. Maybe it's in here. But it assembled a lot of really cool parts. Right? Carla being this caregiver and the thing, and she needs help, but she can't get help. And then the phone and 911. And we're in some sort of like slightly near future. Or maybe that's just what Canada's like. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. The slightly near future stuff also. Yeah, I did notice a slightly near future, but it didn't really seem to. It would have made no difference if these were gas.
Right. But
cars.
like just well, so that's what I thought we were going to do something with that then, because we took the trouble to be in a slightly near future.
Yeah.
And especially in a short story, that was like word choices that mattered.
Because she hinted that if her car had broken down in the past, then she might have been able to fix it. But with these cars, all electric cars, if they just stop,
that's not convincing. I guess it's only convincing for her rationale on why no one's stopping. But then, it sort of lagged out there. It's not. Sure. So then she's like, I'm going to be a human on their sensors, and it doesn't work. So then it starts bringing you to the whole, like, she's dead thing. So, like, I guess. But there's just so many other ways to do that. Like, people literally not seeing you. Human eyes not seeing you with driving, right? Like, yeah. There's just something about the near futureness where it didn't really come into play. Anything that the cars failed to do, humans would have failed to do because she was dead and nobody was seeing her.
Yeah, but she's sort of at the point where no one's watching her. She's rationalizing it by saying that they're probably on sort of auto drive cruise control and looking at their phones and not seeing her. So she's
Mhm.
sort of trying to find reasons for the things that are happening.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing that by the time she sits down with the three-headed dog, she's realized something.
She still hasn't, kind of.
Right.
Well, you know what? This story does, even from before the three-headed dog, it does that thing where when you die, you have a muted reaction to everything. I've seen other stories and mediums do this, right? So like she's in a car accident, and the car accident sounds really bad, and she's just like picking things off herself. She's just kind of getting up, dusting it off. She sees a three-headed dog. She has no reaction to the existence of a three-headed dog. Even the way that the kids are described as crawling is kind of weird. Most kids crawl on their knees, and they're kind of crawling a bit monster-like, a bit more up. She's having that kind of muted reaction and acceptance of whatever this is that you see in a lot of medium when someone dies, right? It's very much doing that tradition. So like you kind of knew she was dead kind of early on. Then the three-headed dog, like you were already suspecting. By the time you get to the three-headed dog, that the three-headed dog confirms it for you. Great.
Yes.
That's all good, right? Like you want the reader to be just ahead of you as a writer. So that's good. But then, yeah, I don't think there's any point where she's like, aha, I am dead. She just is now doing whatever her dead spirit is going to do, which is continue to give care and be 911. That part's kind of confusing, but it doesn't matter. Why is she getting 911 calls?
Yeah, and the guy the old man who phones her up and says, I'm dead, but I've not passed over yet. And but she has no reaction to that, which is
right.
sort of
She still gives her best advice.
Yeah.
And I guess now she's doing like the Charon thing, right?
Yes.
She's doing the River of Styx Charon. She did the little stones on the people's eyes. Like, so that's her thing now.
And is the highway the river?
Is the highway the river? I don't know. But I did have a hint. I have to go back to find it. That the woman who was calling from Bombay Girl died when the car came into the restaurant. Remember, there was a hint in something she said. I'm like, oh, she's dead too. Like, there's one more thing. I kind of find it again.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that.
It was like a quick one.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm looking. What's it called?
Or was it
Bombay Grill, isn't it? Bombay.
Yeah. There was one little thing where in the description, something that she was saying, describing something else, felt a little weird.
This is a woman. This is an accident. Bombay Grill.
Or was it?
Yeah, the driver is bleeding from her head. She's walking around, though, yelling at the guy who wrecked her car.
Yeah. Or there was like something where like she's looking for the phone and it was like a very subtle hint. I think it's when she tries to call again 911. But yeah. I'm trying to. There was just one thing where I'm like, I think she might be. Yeah. There's a fire truck, said the woman, will you be okay? I don't know. I can't find it. It was just a thought I had.
Okay.
Because I don't think living people are calling her. That'd be weird.
Yeah. I mean, right. All told, that would be weirder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Living people are getting through. Yeah.
Right, because she's been trying desperately to call living people, and it's not working.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I didn't clock that everyone that's calling might be dead.
Some of them aren't quite. I think it was just as one of the cars came through my window, and I think it was just yelling at the guy who wrecked her car. There was just something about the order of things where I'm just like, I think she might be the woman bleeding from her head. Anyway, and also just the way that the woman's like, sure, I'll call 911 for you, was odd. Like it was just a lot of little things that were a bit odd. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's something to look at, maybe. It's interesting, and when Andy said there's a lot of good parts, and I think that's because it was a little bit disturbing, because before I realised that she was already dead, I was wrapped up in her frustration at not being able to get help and not being able to do anything, and so at that point I was thinking, oh geez, this is horrible to be in this position, and then gradually the the already dead thing came through.
Yeah. Overall, with the story though, so like this might just be me like reading too many things. Like I think as you read and read more, you start to get different expectations. There was nothing wrong with the story. It was well told. It did all the craft stuff right. I just, for some reason, it just felt a bit like, okay. Like it just felt like done a lot, and I have a three-headed dog. Like, let's use the classics reference so that so we're oriented on what this is. There was just something about it that just felt like, okay, like another version of this thing that we've seen a lot, right? Person doesn't know they're dead. Reader knows they're dead before they do. And then some commentary on like what that afterlife might be like. And for this person, they're a caregiver, they can't get help, and they continue to give care in this particular way. They kind of have like a Charon type role. Okay. Right? Like there's just I think that but that doesn't make the story bad. I think it just makes me increasingly demanding and impatient. I don't know what to do with that sometimes, where I'm just like,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with the story. I just like, okay. Like I've seen it a lot. Yeah.
You just have a Cerberus show up, and then like, I don't know,
now everyone knows exactly.
He just sits on your lap. Like, okay.
We're in the underworld now.
I feel like if you're dropping the big imagery, do something else with it. But like you're just using the big imagery to be a signpost is like, I don't know.
But
okay.
Also, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like part of it is like the demands of writing now, when so much writing is so accessible. And if you want to be a reader, it's really easy to read more than ever before. Because if this was decades ago, centuries ago, that's all you need. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
Like there's like a different level of demand because there is this saturation where it's like, this ain't the first Erebus we've seen. And then for anyone who it is, by a younger reader who hasn't read that much, they'd be like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll still have the oh my God factor for somebody who hasn't read a lot of this stuff. And I don't know what to do with that, because there is kind of like this like evolution even as a reader, right? Like I remember things that I read when I was younger that I read them now and I'm like, Jesus, like this is trite. But when you're a kid or when you're younger, you're like, oh my God, because you've never seen it before. So if somebody reading this had never seen this before, they're going to be like, wow. But for people who have, we're like, okay. And I don't know. Like it still serves its purpose. It's doing the things correctly. And I can like see that intellectually, but emotionally, I'm just not at all connected to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing. When I was emotionally connected up to the point where I began to realize that she was already dead, and then you're sort of, that's like almost like the big reveal, isn't it? It's like the sixth sense in a way, and it's but it didn't come. So there was a lot more writing after that point at which it becomes fairly obvious that she's dead, and then. And then you think, and
then the other thing is, because it's a short story, I don't know enough about Carla and her life as a caregiver to have an emotional reaction to what her afterlife is like. You know what I'm saying? Like it is very much the trope of what you would expect from a tired, exhausted, overworked caregiver who continues to be that in the afterlife. It just kind of continues in this way. It's exhausting, but I don't know enough to like emotionally respond. Yeah.
Well, and there's like these specific references to her family, but like not much either. So I don't. It's like just enough to be like, yeah, she does have an actual family. They have some names. But like we don't really know their relationship or anything, and it doesn't inform a lot else.
Yeah. And all the stuff with the phone I thought was kind of like that. I noted in a different way, because what tends to happen now with technology where like it's so easy to communicate, it's actually kind of hard to be helpless. Like you have to be like, I don't have the bars. Like that's what movies do now, right? It's like
Right.
don't have the bars, or the whole movie is through screens. And it's actually you either have to lean all the way in or pull all the way out. You either have to say up, for whatever reason the technology is right now inaccessible for my movie to work, or I'm going to go back in time to before this technology existed. Or it's like that there's a movie, what's it called, it's a teenage girl, or like she's like college age, her mom disappears on a vacation with a new boyfriend she had, and the whole movie is told through screens. It's a thriller as she's trying to find what happened to her mom. And in this case, you lean all the way in. It's all the tech stuff. It's all the stuff that a woman in her early 20s might know about technology and how you can use it and how it can be manipulated against you, and somebody knows you're doing that. So it's either all tech thriller or you pull the tech out. It's really hard to find this in between, because it's like, and then I called and someone came, right? Like it's really, so that part was kind of interesting, how she kept kind of coming back to the phone and trying, but in the beginning, the phone sort of felt like maybe it's a connectivity issue, maybe she doesn't have enough bars, but there are enough bars. And by the end, the phone itself was being weird. So for those of us who know about phones, we're like, that never happens. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
So that in itself became a clue. That was kind of interesting, because normally authors have to either lean all the way in or lean all the way out. It's really hard to just use it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was quite interesting to have her as a caregiver being called by people calling 911, so that she was reacting like she would during her job, that she would try and help people out, and
Yeah, I did really like that, just as Carla's character of like, okay, I'm not 911. I don't know why you're asking me this, but here is like the practical advice that would help
but
you.
by the
Like,
way,
just do this thing.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on. I've got my own problems, but like, yeah, you should get out of the house.
Yeah, I got my own problems. I'm bleeding. I found more dead bodies. I don't know.
Have the lady with the head injury sit down, please.
And also, if this particular stretch of highway is the river, but everything here is kind of local. It has this kind of argument that there's like a Charon per region, that there's different rivers, which I kind of like. Like you're the one now for this area, for this part of Canada. There's another one somewhere else. Yeah, that there's like ferrymen for the river Styx, and they just is duplicated everywhere.
Weren't there many people for the first guy to handle?
Maybe because she's stuck on the median and can't get across. That's why she keeps coming into contact with other people who are also perhaps on that median.
You know, median's the title. That's probably meaningful.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think?
Stuck in the middle. Yeah. On the little boat. I like when she's like, I'm going to frogger my way across. I'm like, that's a bad idea.
Yes.
Well, I liked when she was like, I'll either get across or die. I was like, yeah, that'll solve this current problem.
So true.
Or not.
Yeah. And the kids kind of get across no problem, right? So there is something about that aspect as well. Other people, we see the children get across no problem. So there is this aspect of like, this is her role. Like she can't get across for some metaphysical, woo-woo, supernatural reason, that this is where she has to be. Because also like getting stranded on the median is kind of rare. Like you normally, when your car is falling down, you have enough time in a matter of seconds to get over to the correct shoulder. You know, not always. I know it happens, but it's kind of rare to get stuck on the median. So even that, we're already in a kind of strange thing. I'll take it because it's the setup of a story, even before I know where it's going. Sure, this is your setup. You're allowed to set it up however you want. But yeah.
She's said she was in the fast lane, but yeah, generally, you're right.
Yeah.
You get some sort of warning that something's not going right, so you can coast across and whatnot. Yeah. Much more to say, really.
Also, just the fact that when the trucks hit her, especially the one that hit her really badly, none of them slow down. Like that's already getting a little freaky, you know. Like
the cement truck didn't stop.
No, cement trucks don't. It's a fact.
Just a fact of cement trucks.
Fact, yeah, cement trucks. They're the
Mhm.
worst.
They probably can't stop, honestly. Really heavy.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say?
I feel like I should. I feel like there should be more to say, but there isn't, because it is it's a fairly sort of linear story, and it's and as you say, once you're with her on her journey, then it's just more of the same sort of thing. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I do feel a little bad because there's like nothing about the story that is, even the way that it ends, where she suddenly just accepts this role. You know, that is a typical and good short story ending normally,
Yeah.
right? We're just like, I think, yeah, when you read enough of this, you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
don't know how to account for
it's
that.
hard to know where it could have ended if not at this point.
I think it's at this point. The story ends at this point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, makes sense that it ends there, actually. That's the correct ending. But I think that's the thing. It's all very correct. And yeah, because I did see in the comment sections, people were like, God damn, wow. And then to me, that's a signal of like a younger reader, not necessarily an age, but even just, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like if they don't read a different literary short story every week in order to do a podcast about it.
Someone should do
Yeah.
that, you know.
I don't know how
That'd be
many three-headed
great.
dogs they've seen before. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
we're here like, the 15th Cerebus.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like, how many heads is that? Like 45? It's a lot of dog heads.
A lot of dog heads. Mhm.
Good math, by the
So
way.
yeah,
just
Ah,
think we
yes.
should note that.
the multiplication table.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we're
It was
ready to
very
rate.
quick, though. It was
Well, I
very quick,
memorized it in third grade. You don't
Unless he-
unmemorize things.
Unless he prepared it. You see, he might have prepared the line in advance.
That's clock math. I feel like clock math doesn't count.
Clock math.
Yeah.
15-minute intervals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I think we should rate.
Let us rate.
Let us rate. I'll go 4.5. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy reading it, and that's what it's worth.
I was a little more down on the story before we talked about it, and now I'm like, yeah, no, I did like it, so I will give it a 4.
Okay. I'm coming in at a 3, which is where I started. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because it's about me and my emotions.
Obviously, yes.
That's why it is a 3. It's my personal rating. Yes, it is subjective. Also, a 3 is not a 1 or a 2. All right.
That's correct.
Yes, it could be worse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Andy, what are we reading next week?
Next week, we are reading The Jacksicans' Authentic Reconstruction of Taco Tuesday number 37 by Stephen Granade.
Okay. But before you go, help! Give us story suggestions in our Facebook discussion group, the Literary Roadhouse Readers. And do you fear the death of a podcast? I mean, I don't know, it sounds very dramatic. But anyway, keep this podcast going by leaving a review of Literary Roadhouse wherever you get your podcast and supporting us on patreon.com/Literary Roadhouse. Every bit helps. And as always, share this podcast with the truck driver who clipped your car. Until next time, read a good story.